Michelle Chaviano. I am a company member with Ballet North Texas, and I will be doing the role of Aurora in Sleeping Beauty. I am originally from Miami, Florida. Started my training there, and then at 16 I went to English National Ballet School, and then danced with the company there for a little bit. And then went to Romania, and then made my way back to the States, and ended up in Texas thanks to Lindsay and Corel Cruz, who put me in contact with Ballet North Texas. How would I describe ballet? I think ballet, as much as we're performing a role that was created many, many years ago, a story, interpreting it, it's almost like revealing our soul to the audience through these roles. So it's acting, but using our body and our movements to portray an emotion, to tell the story. So it's basically using our bodies as the story and the book to tell. So I decided to pursue professionally at the age of around, I would say 9 or 10, when my teacher at the time really took a liking to me, and then I started to really enjoy, I guess first when I was younger, the challenge of dancing, the technical aspect, and then as I got older, obviously the artistic part of it. So always my family has been extremely supportive. All my sister and my mom and my dad, especially my mom, she's like my #1 cheerleader all the time. How they reacted at first, they were always supportive, but I am the first dancer in the family. So it definitely took some like, okay, this is her career now, as opposed to the typical lawyer, engineer. But it was definitely difficult when I had to move away at such a young age for my mom. But they got used to it, and now they absolutely love seeing me perform on stage. Wow. That's a good one. Advice: support your child as much as possible in their pursuit of dance, but don't shelter them. At the same time, as much as this is a growing process in the studio, it's a growing process outside. So there will be many downs, but then the ups will be so much more worth it. And it will also make them a much better human, much more disciplined, grateful, and very, very hardworking. If there's anything dance has given me, is a lot of discipline for everything else in my life. So just be there and support whatever decision they choose to take. Yes. There is a very big difference. I would even say in the style. When I went to England, my style was almost a little bit less is more in the quality of movement. We did a lot of Frederick Ashton. It was still very beautiful. It was just a little bit less. And then when I came to the States, there was a much more freedom. You know, Balanchine came into play. So they're both quite different. But I do think I very much enjoy dancing now in America, being a little bit more free in my movement. Oh wow. So gyrotonic is like my little secret gem. Any time I'm experiencing any sort of back pain, any sort of pain in dance, or any sort of strengthening weakness that I need, I go to gyrotonic. It's a way of lengthening the muscles but strengthening them, which is exactly what a dancer needs. And then when I didn't have the equipment, PBT came into play, so the use of the ball has helped me continue strengthening my work when I don't have the equipment. So I use it for hamstring strength, core strength, back strength, everything, but at the same time keeping my flexibility and range of motion. This is great. So I learned the hard way. I wore many shoes. Then in England I had gainer mended for a while, and I don't recommend that as a starter shoe because gainer mendons assist in getting the dancer up. So really find a shoe that when you get into it, you don't feel like you're sinking. You still feel the floor, and you're obviously going to feel some pain at the beginning, but you still feel like you can feel your foot articulate in the shoe. The most important thing, and I learned this from a male teacher now that I'm older, Francis Fayette, is the importance of 3/4 point and demi-point. So when starting on point, Everyone's eager to turn and get off the bar, focus on getting that 3/4 demi-point strength at the bar for a long time, forever. Oh, I very much take my work home. I very much take my work home, which it's important to have a balance, but I do teach ballet and I have back home as well, so I do take my work home a lot, but I don't think it's work when I enjoy it so much. I do try and take a break from watching it a little bit, so I'll watch Disney. But I do take it home because especially tackling a role like Aurora definitely requires a lot more work outside of the studio, analyzing the character. But I enjoy that process very much. Okay, so there's a list. So first one is she's an older, one of the 4 Cuban jewels of the Cuban National Ballet, who was my mentor and my guardian when I was in England, and she's the reason why I moved to England. Her name is Loipa Araujo, so she is the epitome of dance, of classical dance. So she was my first mentor, and then other mentors when I came to the States is Frances Villette, Lauren Fadley, Lindsay, and Carell Cruz. So approaching it is definitely a challenge because I've sometimes had the comment of I'm more of like a fiery Petrie, so this is definitely something I'm excited to take on because in my mind, Sleeping Beauty, Aurora is like a young 16-year-old who is of a higher class, but she wakes up from sleeping for hundreds of years and is supposed to marry someone. So there's a lot of emotion going there, but she's also trying to keep her composure, and at the same time she's shy, but there's this like beauty that comes from her shyness. So it's going to be kind of fun to see how less is more in this role. So it's definitely going to take a lot of self-practice at the studio. I think the ballet community is great. I love it because we're all like, you know, the ballet community understands the ballet world, which is such a peculiar world to be in, but so rewarding and so different. I do like how the ballet community has evolved in the sense that we still do the classics, but we are doing a lot more works and choreography that portray modern day stories, which good and bad, but keep ballet relevant to what's happening around us. So I think the ballet community is coming around to it for sure. Ballet myth. Oh, I'm gonna think that one. What is one ballet myth? I actually have to say this is, and maybe this is not a ballet myth, but it's something I'm trying to break as a ballet teacher to my students, and that is that like we're all these like cuckoo bunheads that like are like live and breathe ballet. I try and instill them to go and have a normal life, have days off where they disconnect and do other sports, other hobbies, obviously that don't injure them, but something else so that they don't get so caught up in the world of ballet. So I think maybe it's not a myth, but it's definitely something I'm trying to veer off is that bunhead mentality. Like, no, we're humans and we have good and bad days, like everyone else. Oh, wow. So actually this is one that I've come to the conclusion recently is the biggest advice I can give dancers, especially young dancers in today's day where like social media plays such a role and makes you feel like you're behind on everything is don't rush the process. I left home very young and I mean it still was great, but there's no rush. Take every moment that comes your way in dance and approach it and embrace it, and then mainly stay humble. Stay humble and be humble person and dancer, because when you step on stage, your soul comes through the audience. If you have any sort of bitter, envy feelings, it comes out. So just stay humble and it'll take you so far. Come watch Sleeping Beauty! Come watch Sleeping Beauty. It's one of the best ballets and it's just such a treat to come and watch Sleeping Beauty on Mother's Day. So come!